Oh, look at that. There's a logo on my face. My favorite way to start any specific version of Just to Recap. There it is. It's gone. It's me. That's right. It's Coach Dub. I'm right here with you at long last, but from miles and miles away. If I look a little weird, if I sound a little hoarse, it's because I was on vacation this weekend, guys. Sorry, I missed all the Jesters shows. I was off at the Innings Fest watching the Foo Fighters, Tame Impala, and so many more rock out for my entertainment. But you guys were rocking out for our entertainment over at Chaparral High School for week 5 of High School Jesters' 13th league of existence, or 13th year of the existence of the league. Yeah, all that good stuff. Let's bring in the man behind the league himself to help us break down all of the action in this week's Just to Recap. Hey, where's Kopy? Yes.
Was behind the curtain.
Perfect. Thanks for opening up the veil for us to see your smiling face. You look like you're well rested because it's been a few days since, of course, our week's activities. How was week 5 of Jesters Improv emanating live from Chaparral High School?
There's always just cool things to take away from each week, each show. And, I was thinking this week, especially in a lot of different moments, that I think sometimes students don't realize kind of where they are and what they're experiencing and what they're going through. Had a real just simple moment with Zach Graham from El Dorado this week backstage. And I said, hey, look at you. You get to make all these friends each week. And then he just simply says, isn't that what improv is? It's just working with new people. And it was just such a simple matter of fact, but we as coaches and leaders get to actually see them just blindly doing it.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's cool to see that evolution. It's cool to see that their brains are in a completely different place, but gaining in so many ways. So yeah, that's just neat sometimes to realize. And I think every coach knows exactly what I'm saying right now.
Yes, exactly. The coaches definitely get it. For the students to get it, the sooner into their path, the better, because a lot of what we're teaching is stuff that you're going to use in so many different facets of life. It's not just putting on a good show and emotionalizing everything you do so that an audience can pick it up. It's about just learning how to read other people and give them what they need on the path of life. So I hope that more kids like Zach get it, but it's nice to hear it's coming around. So as we hit our stage at Chaparral, we have 10 great shows to break down. I have them all adorning my cranium today, kind of hanging out for you all to take on. I mean, I don't even know what this first one is, but I suppose we'll find out together.
We got called out in a show on Saturday. And Just to recap, it was ATEC and LVA. They pretended to be me and you in Switch interview.
I'm so flattered. That's so cool.
And I forget who did the setup. Maybe Elliot from LVA was just like, I'm Warren, and I've got a hat filled with paper, and welcome to Just to Recap. And then what do you think Kopy and all Emily from ATEC said was, I have a beard. Switch.
Hey, you got straight to the point, team. Hey, that's a bonus prop for you guys. Kopy and I chatted a little bit before we hit the record button, and it sounds like lots of fun props are on the way for y'all. Sounds like a really fun week of improv, and big special initial thanks to Chaparral for hosting this week's festivities. You're doing it for us 2 weeks in a row, and hey, we can't wait till there's a team on stage for you again, Chaparral. We know it's only a matter of time, but thank you for supporting us this week by giving us a home to play on. So now that the shows have been sort of primed for, let's go ahead and break them down, shall we? We've got 10 fun ones. I'm going to reach wherever I feel like. I have no idea which is where. And I pull from my hat our first show. And this is our, this is our 9 a.m. show. Not the 8 a.m. jitters and sleepiness, but the 9 a.m. fun and frolic with Las Vegas High School, going toe-to-toe with Isaac Glover and his incredibly bombastic Silverado crew. How did this pairing go up? We've got a rookie coach in Haley Garcia going up against a veteran, both performing and coaching in Isaac. And Silverado is a school that usually has some really great tricks up their sleeve. What came to a head in this 9 a.m. production? It's got to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think this one, for me at least, sums up by who was on stage and then several moments throughout the show. So
Yeah.
Las Vegas High School, Owen, welcome to the league. This was your first show. I could literally see you unravel as the show went on, Owen, to where by
So
the end,
fun.
just you were comfortable talking, right?
Mhm.
And it just took you just a little bit of time, and then that just you opened up more and you opened up more. So that was
Yep.
super neat for me to see. And then Joan holding down the fort as you have each week for Vegas. We got Lucy as a newbie also in Silverado, and Lucy got to play in a game of two lines with Silverado, where I pulled up Coach Isaac and Coach Enrique to play as well.
Super fun.
So it was just a giant game of two lines. And they, I mean, they didn't know that I was going to pull them up, but they played that off really well. How to have that many people on stage playing a team choice game, and then entrances and exits, and they pulled off a really satisfying version of that particular game, which was kind of neat. And because I did that, I had to have Coach Haley up there for Vegas, and I put Haley in a game of countdown with the Vegas team.
Naturally, sure.
Yeah, so that was neat all the way around. A fun six things. Really got Nathan on something that he couldn't figure out, which turned into a gag for a couple of games. Just Nathan not being able to figure it out. Silly moment with Vegas and that with ramen noodles as a suggestion, and then Roman getting involved because we just couldn't get to the ramen part of the suggestion.
The Roman ramen.
The Roman ramen, yeah, and just real simple things like that just is what make improv fun. So
super duper.
Yeah, I mean, just fun little silliness and some new faces in here. And then Jillian was back this week for Silverado, which I was impressed by Jillian in her first show.
Sure.
Now it's your second. Jillian's one of those seniors, first year seniors.
You guys are the devil.
Right.
Just literally.
And Nathan, you know what's cool? And here's a good quick transition that will help us in a lot of these shows actually, is that we're starting to get some students who are asking, who are wanting more critique and more and wanting a little bit more feedback. And obviously, right. And obviously in this recap, there's only so much we can go through, right? That's even going to matter to so many people, right? So Nathan's one of those. So I got the request this week for Nathan wanting more. And what's even cooler about that is Nathan, this is his 4th year. Like, Nathan, what am I going to tell you? what am I going to say to you?
Just love yourself more, because at this point it's your style, right? You've grown into the performer you are, and have faith in that person more than anything, because at this stage with 4 years, you've had enough touches to know what that guy looks like. So there's probably nothing super that stands out to you, Nathan, that you need to fix. Just have more love for yourself, because that emanates when you put that out at the audience. So
I've been highlighting her just little by little through these recaps, but Catherine, who played for Las Vegas this week, each week you keep showing it, and here you were again. I mean, you were kind of helping drive the bus in 6 things. So yeah, for me, gosh, I love it. Week by week, you're doing it. You're just so comfortably getting up there now. So yay, gold star for sure.
Do you have time for me to ask a little playoffy related question to one of those games you talked about just moments ago?
Sure.
I'm just curious, Kopy, can 2 lines be played effectively in the playoffs and have a whole team really sing in the score sheets? Tell us about that.
Yeah, I would argue 2 lines is a way harder than you all think.
Right.
It's fun to see. I don't know if you guys saw it, and I'm sure adding Isaac and Enrique didn't help much in the sense that, ooh, this is fun, I want to do this.
Yeah.
Really difficult. Nathan was our mediator. Nathan had an insanely hard job of how to justify and tell a story, while everyone else had to find a way to tell a story with just 2 lines of dialogue.
Super duper hard. True.
More than likely, most of you have played this game with me, because this is the game that I literally bring to every single school, and I stand in front of you as students and I say, hey, let's do this. Yeah. So the way that it appears at first versus how effective can we be with it are 2 different animals. So you got to be able to tell a story. If we're not telling
Right.
a story, then yeah, your score is not gonna give you much.
Right. On the plus side, that one moderator, they do kind of get to control the story to an extent. You just have all of these fantastic speed bumps around you in these very incremental amounts that these other players can give, but it's the way you say those things, kiddos, and it's the maybe the accent you might use, or the emotion in your face, or the way you stutter through it if you're having an emotional reaction of some kind, that make that game heightened for those of you who are linchpinned with those two different lines. So yeah, it was interesting to see what you might say could help lead kids to the promised land when the scores matter. You know, you really have to add that emotionality if you're stuck with just those two lines, huh?
And I would take even your comment to another level. Yeah, the mediator is primarily tasked with telling the story, but if somehow the two lines can move into the role to where you are now telling the story,
right,
even with your two lines, now
Yep.
we've got something to be impressed with.
Exactly.
So yeah, don't think if you're getting the two lines, you're getting off easy. That's not the way it should be.
Yep.
Heck, I would even say any of you guys that love slideshow, there's some real similarities there.
Yes.
You don't have lines, but you can give a lot more than you think. So
and games like Pillars too, ones that we go out there and say this isn't possible to shine as the pillar. Yo, if you're super duper random and you go out of your way to guess what this scene needs and put it in your pillar, well, maybe you just might be the star of that game. So
we're gonna talk about a good Pillars later.
It might be sooner than you think, because the next show is up, my friends.
There's no way.
This is our Rancho versus El Dorado show.
All right. I was like, you've got 1 in 9 chances to get.
Darn. It would have been so much fun.
Yeah.
All right. Second frame improv, buddy. Give it to me. How was El Dorado and Rancho? Was this game paved with gold?
You know what? Their very first game, their very first suggestion was Gold Rush. So that's actually really funny.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah. Game choices in this one also stand out to me. And then also a couple of shy babies who didn't play so shy here.
Okay.
So two things. First off, we got a number of words in there from El Dorado.
Oh, I love number of words. Such a pure improv game.
Agreed. And you had 4 people that had no problem saying their words.
Right.
So we could almost see where the tug of rope struggle was of, well, who and when and how. That's a great place to be.
Sure.
So I would argue that I see number of words played more for when a team is struggling to get out of their shell a little bit, and it's giving them a frame. That's not the way El Dorado took this. So that's a great place to be. They were everything from 11 words to 2 words as far as their given number. The other side, we got a press conference at a Rancho.
Oh, not a commonly played game.
Not a commonly played game.
It's a classic, actually.
But they and who knows? Sometimes when you congratulate brilliance, you don't know if it's accidental or on purpose. But I mean, top to bottom for this game, other than it being a little longer, they really hit all the beats, and it turned into one of those games where everyone started playing. Like I went out and asked a couple of silly questions.
Oh, cool.
It just everyone started playing, and they got to the point at the end where Harley just didn't know the name of the person. Knew the person, didn't know the name, and Aaliyah from Rancho just hey, your name, hey, doesn't your name rhyme with Schmradley Schmooper? And and it was at the right time, the right moment, and got such a big pop out of the audience with it. Like, genuinely hilarious.
When the frustration amongst the questioners is high, and the guesser is like, I'm one question away from being super over this. And then the right person feels that moment to pop the crowd. Great job, Aaliyah. Kudos. Kudos.
I think we had a pretty strong radio in this one with some just goofy suggestions. Roman at at his best.
Oh, so silliest.
Yeah.
Will Wellman.
So yeah, Warren has a really good Roman impression. Everybody,
Oh, Kopy, no.
ask Warren in person. I'm not gonna make him do it on Just a Recap.
Who? Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think just like this last show, there's just a lot of cool moments in this one.
Cool.
And then yeah, I mentioned Aaliyah because Aaliyah, especially Once Upon a Time, was much shyer. We had another Aaliyah. There were two Aaliyahs in this show. This was baby Aaliyah's first show.
Oh, fun.
And officially our only 8th grader in the league this year is baby Aaliyah.
Oh yeah, baby Aaliyah. Yeah. Way to go. Nice to have, and that's not the first time, guys. We've had 8th graders visit our league and play through a few because we kind of want everybody to have a chance to play, and Kopy is really good at finding schools who could use that energy, who can learn the most from, say, some of the stronger kids in the league. So that's great to know baby Aaliyah made it in, and they can learn a lot from Harley, if you don't mind me continuing to say. Harley, quite adaptable this year,
right, taking
on a lot of fun situations. Let's get another show for us to dissect. I'm gonna try this one. They're like little spaghetti strands. I love these. And we're gonna go with our 5 p.m. show. You dabbled about it a little bit earlier as LVA and the ever enjoyable Elliot mocked their way into a great Switch interview scene about you and I. But across from them was ATEC, a school that is just as veteran. These two have played before and have really fought for it. So this could have also been a great show on paper. Tell me, was it as good as I'm imagining?
Yeah.
Nice.
I kind of said it in the first 2 shows that there's been some shyer people that have kind of come through. And I think there's no more evident than this one. So Coach Song, and this was the last show of the day, right. Coach Song had some last second call outs that couldn't make the show. So Song wasn't sure how many people are going to show up, who's going to be in the show. Song at one point left to go to her car to get something. And I saw someone walking in and I didn't immediately recognize it in an ATEC shirt. And Song came in and passed me and I said, there's someone that just walked in. I didn't recognize them right away. And then Song went back there, and this was someone who is so shy. They didn't communicate, tell Song. Song had zero idea this person would ever even show up for a show. Boy. And then they showed up and they got to be in the show because of the last second switches.
That's great.
Right. That's how, that is such a great definition of how someone so shy can be, to where you had an opportunity and you got one. And you definitely had fun. So you were all smiles, all show. And you got to play in a good one with some strong people around you. So LVA has been kind of rocking this year. Leora got back on stage for LVA, and Leora's strong. So I think that chemistry bubble just expands for what LVA's been doing.
Good.
And Emily, you've been on ATEC is this your 3rd year? Maybe this is only officially, I think, your 2nd show.
6th year. This is in 6th year.
Maybe. I think this is only your 2nd show in these 3 years. And what are you doing? Getting some more shows. Like, you're funny. Like, Emily was the beard joke I said earlier.
Yay!
Yeah, we all know what Jessica can do. Jessica's been a powerhouse.
Oh, so good for them.
Played in the championship last year. And then Bella's just been kind of on this good incline for what they've been doing. So neat moments there. I could talk about just other silliness inside of games, but I think that nails it pretty well. So a fun to do rep to end the day.
I don't doubt for either of those teams to be strong contenders for their respective conferences championships as we get into playoffs. So it's wonderful every time we get to see 2 of those kinds of teams in the later portions of the season, so we can see how ready they are getting. And it sounds like they've got sturdy legs and great brains. I can't wait for both teams as the season comes to a close and we get into the time when the prov matters, if so to speak. So I'm getting a little frustrated with this Bane in the middle. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out for next. And and it's a doozy. How about Western and Bonanza?
Getting my notes.
Bonanza is one of those schools that I hopped on the bandwagon for last week, and Western is one that has been around for a few years with our league and has steadily improved, getting quite the identity this year. So I imagine these two teams, iron sharpening iron, right? Lots of high energy on that Bonanza squad, as they got some real comfort across to the audience last week. I'm sure they kept that momentum going today. Did it make Western rise to the occasion too?
Yeah. Well, so I think Western has kind of started at a good place this year from out of the get-go with excitement and energy and charisma.
Awesome.
So I don't think they've really dipped on that. I think they've kind of kept that all year.
Good.
So, a fun story outside of this one is it's Coach Tirza from Bonanza against Coach John and Coach Eva. Coach Eva, who used to be on Bonanza, that Coach Tirza coached for a minute, right? And I mean, Tirza will tell you she loved coaching Eva.
Oh, sure.
And having that experience. So that's always just a fun when that kind of full circle happens in this particular case.
Did the pupil become the master?
Well, I mean, from a game lineup standpoint, maybe this has this lineup has Eva all over it.
Okay.
They got a game of Flashback in there.
Oh yeah, I don't even know that one yet.
If you know the game Meanwhile, same game.
Okay.
Okay.
Sort of, kind of. Yeah, keep moving.
Yeah, it's essentially like a freeze where you pre-call out your freeze. So freeze, I'm gonna do blank, and then you walk forward and do blank. Yeah. So
it's that's a misconception machine, or a misdirection machine, if you think about it.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And then a high energy six things. Aiden coming through last second. Aiden had a ride issue and ended up getting thrown on stage right at the beginning of the show.
Those moments are always fun.
Like skateboard in hand.
Don't worry, I'm here.
Yeah.
Cool. Very, very cool. Lots of energy. Lots of drama.
What? Just a fun little. I had this conversation with a student talking about Mai, who played for Western this week. And,
fun.
And Mai, I learned earlier this year that Mai is a dancer. And has a lot of dance in their life. But for whatever reason, whatever was happening in Six Things, what Mai was trying to mime required a lot of falling down. And Mai must have gone down to the ground 6 times.
And 6 falls.
But each time was this like Mai could be a stunt faller or what there's a term for it, but just the perfect way of falling, the weight distribution and where your feet are placed. It was just and each time she fell, I just went, how do you do that? Like how is that a thing that you can do?
Mai, if you're hearing this, guess what? You've got a future in professional wrestling if you're after Jesters, because you're learning how to take a bump. These stage falls are pretty darn good. So go do it on some canvas and get some fans. I mean, I'm already a fan. I know Mai well. Well, you'll get tons of fans. You go out there and take bumps like that.
I'm kind of mad I didn't think of that.
Wow. Who knew? Professional wrestling and improv, they have so many boundaries blurred. Yeah. Very cool. Sounds like a fun show. Thank you for your energy, Mai. That's a lot of falls. So keep it to 1 next time and do yourself a favor. How about another show, mi amigos? Here's the other West team, right? West Tech making their appearance this week, this time against Team Adorable, whether they like it or not. You guys, you can't help it. You're just so likable. You should enjoy that moniker as much as you can, because it's only a matter of time before you're adults with beards and bald heads, and we're all over you. But that being said, you're still Centennial right now. You guys are great teams. There's a lot of power on that West Tech side. I imagine this show had some fireworks to it. Tell us all about it, Cope.
Yeah, well, on the Centennial side, we got Jasmine in the captain chair, which is nice. Jasmine's new this year, and Jasmine has been showing power from day one. So, and then you got 4-year Brian behind Jasmine, and Brian's been having fun since the Brent days. a little known fact. That's a good pop trivia question for league. What's the team that Coach Brent coached that you don't remember? He coached Centennial for a year.
Yep, he's touched a lot of schools over the years.
Right. There are a handful of really cool moments. We got to see Ashley and Aaron, the twins, in the switch interview chairs next to each other on a couple rotations.
Always funny.
Yeah, and even how they played with that, like even just the content that they created, and just maybe their brains are alike, who knows. But they created some fun moments just from the fact that they're sisters, right? So that was a neat moment for me. I would say that it goes beyond that a little bit in the sense that I think Chelsea's improving on West Tech. Quentin's definitely improving. I know Quentin has a lot of self-doubt. That game of pillars was here. Was West Tech. And even in my notes, I thought it was a really good choice for those four and who played what spots. So James and Quentin played the pillars, and they got about as much out of those pillars as they could.
Nice. Good.
Yeah, like they really contributed to where they weren't just standing there saying words, they were actually a part of what was happening.
Good.
Ashley, I think, is a genius and was able to navigate a really strong scene with Chelsea. There was just a really smart choice for that particular game for those particular four. And you interchange any of those things and that could change, but it was a smart choice. We had Inner Monologue on the other side. Inner Monologue was the most played game of the week.
This is about right. This is the time when we really start to see it come out because it's almost playoff time.
Yeah, 6 out of the 10 shows played Inner Monologue. So
that's a lot of Mog.
Yeah, we'll talk more about Inner Monologue later. Okay. But yeah, this was a fun afternoon one.
Your note about the twins in their switch interview, like that's such a lucky situation you have, kiddos, because you're the dynamic duo who lives together, right? You get to think of all these really fun 2-person character tropes to play in those situations, whether it's Jeopardy or switch interview, radio, town hall, all these different opportunities where you can take your characters and have some preconceived ideas, if you know what I mean. So hey, swing for the fences in those situations and bring out some of your favorite characters from home over the years, maybe earlier versions of your sisterhood itself. You never know when that could be really good gold in those situations.
Well, and to even generalize it maybe a little for everyone, they are two very different people. They look identical, but they definitely have different personalities. I just found out this week after knowing them for a couple of years that they are not identical twins.
Oh, okay.
So like, medically, to me, it seems like a lie. Like there's no way they're not identical twins. That seems like that's a complete lie. I don't.
They're identical triplets with song is the truth. Right.
Exactly.
Cool. Just making sure. Let's get another show, shall we? This one's been tickling the back of my neck, making the hair stand up. Oh, and that's why it's been whispering, pick me, coach, because it's my Del Sol kids. Hey, guys, another 8 a.m. show that you did completely without my help because we have such a nice team. I'm so proud of our team. Del Sol hung out with Secta this week, which is my alma mater. So this is a game I'm especially bummed that I missed. Oh, and I also got Ollie, one of my super exciting sophomores, into their first show this year. They debuted last year in Improv, and I've been stoked for Ollie to have their first on-stage show this year. And finally, it happened in week 5 with Speedy and Max. And across the way, Secta, a lot of strong veterans already. I was excited to see my rookie Harry match up with hopefully Ava played, this weekend. Hopefully Cody played. Tell me, did my expectations get met?
Do you know when you can tell a team's got a bunch of veterans on stage is when they're giving us a hard time? Like they're teasing and they're razzing and they're picking on Kopy and they're picking on Roman and well, that was
it finally
that was Secta this week.
I just want my Del Sol kids to look like veterans for a change.
And to pick on me, you go and tell them to pick on me.
Maybe a little. Go ahead.
it was neat. So that they Kennedy hasn't been around that long. Lexi stems back to last year. Ava, of course, several years, and Cody's in the family. They definitely had that whole vibe of, we've been around a while. Kopy, we're gonna make sure we get as much out of this show as we can.
Good.
On the other side of it, before the show, Speedy tried telling me, "Hey, this is Harry's first show. Like, we're a little nervous. Like, what do you do? And can you make it so that Harry doesn't go first? Just to make sure that Harry's ready to be up there." And I'm watching the show. I'm like, Harry's not nervous. Like, Harry's just fine.
It's true.
Like, totally fine.
It's true.
So yeah, I didn't even get like an ounce of that feeling. Sometimes I get that feeling, but not in this particular case. We started this show off with some continuation.
Yeah. Ingles and I talked about that a few weeks ago. We were like, let's do something we don't do. Let's do it. So that was fun.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, we actually started with hijinks. I put in continuation in the middle. Hijinks is the note that I wanted to make, and I had to circle it. So there's a really sorry, I'm reading all my notes now.
I'm on bated breath. Like, I want to know so bad.
Well,
tell me.
I'm trying to make all the highlighted notes that I should be talking about. You know what? Let's talk about this one. So there was the scene suggestion was prison, which Roman took.
Great job, Roman. Yay, family friendly.
Yeah, and the first scene, Max comes out as like human handcuffs. So he comes out and like makes his body all funky, and he goes, "I'm an actual pair of handcuffs." And Harry fully yes-ands it and is like, "Cool, I'm handcuffed." And then they link together, and then they're handcuffs. But as we replayed that, oh crap, I got my notes all backwards. This was Survivor. So as they replayed that,
this is going swell, Cope.
Yeah, sorry. Max changed the handcuffs to headphones. But kept all the physicality. So by the end of this, Max was just like this bumping pair of headphones that looks like handcuffs. And I'm just thoroughly confused at the end. I'm like, what is happening?
Sounds like a 10 out of 10 out of commitment. Yep.
Right. And it was what Max gave to that particular moment. And then something so simple in the scared Harry to just yes and go, "Oh yes, I'm cuffed." Like, just something so simple and brilliant to how we get that scene moving forward.
Yay. Good.
And I think the show is kind of filled with a lot of those.
Cool.
Ollie and Lexi's "What Are You Doing" round. I mean, they must have had 7 or 8 just true dingers back and forth.
Yes. Yes.
With their penalties joke and their pineapple jokes.
Yeah.
And
was there a parrot's joke to complete the peas?
I don't think there's a parrot joke.
Darn it.
And we got Alyssa Sagers on stage.
Yay, newly engaged.
Because I challenged them to some town hall meeting, and Alyssa got to come on stage with Mr. Ingalls.
Good.
And I made the suggestion for that game, wedding rings, because Alyssa's engaged to be married.
That's so sweet. Sounds like a good, very meta game with both teams probably doing a little bit of ribbing on you, and probably better energy than your usual 8 a.m. shows, I hope.
Oh yeah, it didn't feel like 8. It was good.
Cool. Yeah. Glad to see 2 of my favorite schools clash and have such a fun time. Congratulations once again to Alyssa Sagers. It's wonderful to know that you're taking such a big step in life. I hope that you remain happy forever. Here is another game and another fantastic matchup. This has Cimarron involved against Shadow Ridge. 2 very different teams. Why? Cimarron, maybe almost the backbone of our league here or there, right? They've been such a huge part of our culture. Shadow Ridge, one of the newest faces in our league. Excited, no doubt, to play with such a historied club. Tell me, how did these 2 match up at the 4 p.m. hour?
You know, when I go back for that minute before the show, like, we're transitioning shows and I come and I meet the kids for a second, and then myself or Roman run out there and do the host thing. Like, I never know what happens before that minute. Like, I don't know what's going on backstage, who's what and where. So when I got back there for this minute, Althea was like hyped. Like I don't know. I don't know if Althea like had money riding on the show or something.
Okay.
like Althea was just hyped and just like, hey, we're gonna do this at this spot, we're gonna do this at that spot. Let's be ready, let's go play. And just to see 4-year players doing that is why we do this. Like it's just it's really cool.
Jesters would like to take a second to remind you, we do not accept bets on our games. No bets on Jesters. Just let you know.
No.
All right.
Yeah, thank you. So that was really neat to see. And then we got to see a crew of players from Shadow Ridge who are at least all in their second show. So there's no rookies on that one. But we got Belle back in her second show, and there was a first line, last line game that was really solid for all 4 scenes. But Belle and Althea got paired together and they were the 4th scene, and they just came out firing. Like, just hilarious, funny, strong, committed energy. And this happens all the time where we get to that point in the year where we're watching someone who's grown to be the old vet and then someone who's new and younger and upcoming, and they just have those moments together. And that's what I saw. I was like, we got to give Belle some credit here. Belle, yes, may have been the online all-star for Shadow Ridge, but man, Belle's strong and capable of a lot.
Taking that torch, running with it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Love it.
But it's I would, if you were to say, Kopy, could I ever do this in an improv scene? I'm probably going to say no. But Althea found a way to bring a gun into this scene. And right, just leave it at that. But it was hilarious. It was just funny. So this show had all of that. A lot of excitement, a lot of energy. Whatever you did at the beginning, Althea, keep doing that.
I could make a terrible gun joke right now. I suppose I'll just move on. Yep, it's the wisest thing. Anyway, folks, good. I'm glad it was a good show. Althea, there's nothing you can't touch, kiddo. Keep on working your way through it. How about this? It's Clark and it's Spring Valley. This one is at the 1 p.m. hour, just after lunch. We're all fully fed and ready for some tasty improv.
After 8 a.m., it's all a blur.
For you, I'm sure. Yeah, poor guy. Hey, Clark's been a powerhouse team this year, and Spring Valley has got the history and the legacy to say that they could turn it on at any time. This had to be an interesting one between 2 divisional rivals hungry to see where they stand in the West. How'd it go, Cope?
So I always find it interesting when I get to week 5, 6, 7, 8, and I still meet new students. And those new students are strong. So cue Theodore from Spring Valley. So sometimes it just takes a while to get someone new in. Maybe they are shy, or maybe it's just going to take a minute for them to feel comfortable. And whatever your delay was, Theodore, welcome, because you clearly are very natural and fun up there. Spring Valley for me seemed like they were pushing a little harder than maybe they have. And
good.
Is it a collective effort? Is it a coincidence? Who knows? Apollo, I thought, had a really bang up show. A lot of good creative ideas. And even B, who is new this year, I think B kind of chomped down and said, hey, I'm going to not only have fun in this moment, I'm going to see if I can create this scene. I can move some ideas forward and actually try some things. So I felt really strong about what Spring Valley brought.
Good.
And then we haven't been able to find a whole lot about Clark that they're not doing well, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's kind of
chemistry.
That's kind of the same spot. So Blanca, you just keep showing that you've been around all these years and you can play. They played a game of foreign dub with Marlene and Hillel as the foreign language.
Oh.
And Jenna and Blanca as the dubbers.
Okay.
Which for me, I was already interested, like just the way that they laid that out. And of course, Roman gives them the foreign language of Texan.
It's a joke somewhere, you know. It works. It works. Come
like,
on.
whatever. And I was like, okay, but if anyone's going to do it, let's see Clark do it.
Okay.
Apparently, Hillel's gibberish was Arabic. He was speaking Arabic.
Oh,
And Coach Noah, who stopped through the show,
yeah.
who also speaks Arabic, came up to me and said, "Do you know what he was saying during during that game?" I was like, "Of course I don't know what he was saying. I didn't know he was saying anything." And he said he kept asking Marlene, "Where's the airport? Why won't you tell me where the airport is?"
Okay, good. Okay, good. Hey, smart choice of actual language if you're going to gibberish with actual language.
Yeah, well, Hillel's got one of those voices that that sound like just the sound of the voice makes you laugh. So
interesting.
That made me laugh even harder knowing what it was that Hillel was saying in that moment.
It's a real conversation in Vegas at least 7 times a day. I want you to know that.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Jenna's Irish dolphin, hilarious.
It's hard to do dolphin with an accent. Good for you, Jenna. I've been working on it for a few years. I still can't dolphin in Irish. It sounds so Jamaican. Like, what do you do? I got to take notes from Jenna. I do have this obvious guy on the left ear, but my numbers say I should have one more hiding in here. So I'm going to go hunting for that one. Yeah. So let's just find the slip with Warren, shall we? And see how lucky I get and see how much time this takes. In the meantime, I want you guys to know to use Dove shampoo. Dove shampoo. It's soft for your scalp and not for your eyes. Dove. Get it at Safeway today. I'll just take the devil I know, and then we'll go from there. This is going to be Arborview and Northwest CTA. And buddy, I circled this sucker a long time ago. This had, is that you? There you are. What are you doing back there?
Oh, I see it now.
Yeah, he's back there.
Yep.
But Northwest CTA and Arborview had to be game of the day in my heart, just looking at the paper and going, who do I want to watch today? This matchup boasts 2 of the more dynamic duos in our league, should they have been chosen to play this week. And boy, you want to talk about 2 teams who want to know how they look next to each other. No doubt about it. Tell me, how did they play? How did it go? Was there a huge explosion of epic improvisational proportions, Kopy?
Well, I did not confirm if this was show of the day based on scores. However, from general feels, it may have been.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of moments. So here's what you had walking into the show: is you had 4 prior year main stage cast performers and award nominees and winners. So that's what you had walking into the show.
Totally.
So plus some of their supporting cast, who's super strong. I'm a big fan of Lily at Northwest and what Lily brings to them. And Gavin's had no problem just getting in there and showing what Gavin can do.
Sick.
I've definitely sang the praises of what Rowan can do for Arborview, and even had a chance to talk to Rowan about that in person. I said, "Hey, Rowan, come find me in person. Let's talk." Rowan did it. And then Xander, who I know Arborview really like, and want to get Xander's ideas and thoughts incorporated into what they're trying to do on stage. So yeah, this had the making of it, and I think it delivered. We had them open with "I can do that better." And they kind of changed the game. Like, they got to the point to where they took over for Roman as the host. They were in the audience. They were "I can do that bettering" to anything and everything you can imagine. And it was just force and strength and just flying. Just everyone's going and working it. And normally when you see that game, you see it very contained to the ideas of the scene. I don't think that's the way that they
decided to run with it this week, huh?
Yeah. I think I said to a student, and I forget how I said it or phrased it. I was talking about Erica and how strong and aggressive Erica is, and I said something like, Erica would walk up and push a bear or something like that.
Straight up.
That's who Erica is, and I think that translates into Isaiah and Allison and Audrey. So that was cool to get them all in that spot. And then for me, the game that just was like, whoa, was first line, last line.
Yes.
Those 4 that I talked about,
Mm-hmm.
The prior year main stage performers, they were in 4 different pairings.
Good.
So the other
sugar.
Right, the other 4 got to pair up with someone else, and we just got to see 4 really quality, really strong scenes.
Good.
That just kept you laughing and kept you wanting to see more. And unfortunately, the show has to end at some point.
Whose creative choice was that, boss? Who paired them up that way?
That was not me. So cool. and I don't think Roman did either. Roman's too scared of forgetting people's names to do that. So they may have coincidentally have done that.
Cool.
Or maybe they determined it before the show. Who knows?
Nice.
Got some 6 things into the show, inner monologue, little voice. This was solid top to bottom. Everyone had a piece of this one.
That sounds like it was a doozy, as was promised, as was projected. Congrats on 2 teams sizing each other up, not backing down, and having a great show. I can't really tell how many times my voice has cracked so far in this talk, but I'm going to guess at least 12. And I don't even need to grab my last straggler back here to know that our final game of the week, it's a marquee matchup no matter where you look, folks. From the left to the right or head on, Basic versus Valley. Let's do it.
Nope.
What?
That's not the show.
It's not?
No. The last one is Basic and Valley had a bye.
Okay.
Sierra Vista and Desert Oasis.
Okay, no problem. You just enjoy the last game by yourself there, Cope. Go ahead.
Sierra Vista and Desert Oasis. Also, it was the second show that played continuation.
Yay! So what a cool coincidence.
Yep. Well, it was neat because all 4 coaches were asking me about it. Well, you didn't really ask me anything about it. But yeah.
Should I have?
No, it's fine.
Cool.
Mr. Ingalls was paraphrasing what you told him about it, about continuation, just trying to make sure that he had his ducks in a row.
Yeah.
So we got continuation. We got Angels and Demons in this one.
Oh yeah, that is a fun choice.
Yeah, we're getting creative here in week 5 with what we're seeing on stage. I would say this continuation was for never doing it, or even just watching one video online, or however you guys coached and prepared for this. You guys were well prepared for this. The patience of adding that next person, you guys had it. So for me, that was automatically a good sign of how we get to that point. And that's a compliment to all 8 of you. I can't necessarily even say, oh, well, so-and-so did blank. That is a true scene work. Everyone's got to do it. Angels and Demons is ridiculous. Dio's remote control inner monologue, also ridiculous. Zai, you are a different person. Like, holy cow, from Dio.
So cool. Yeah.
You are a different person. I can't give you the full of this story, but Zai after the show was frustrated that Coach Corey gave some tough suggestions in their game of 6 things, and Zai let Coach Corey hear some of their feelings after the show about how tough their suggestions were. And that's all I can give you. But
awesome.
Knowing what Zai said made me go, okay, Zai's comfortable now. Like, oh yeah, Zai, who was terrified in that first show, to this Zai. Even I watched Zai run out there in the intro and I went, boom, look at that. Like, holy cow, this is awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Ambrose, you're very comfortable. Clearly, I don't think you shared any of that. Maybe you say you do, but you don't. Brutus, I think you're coming into your own. You're starting to find it. I finally was able to confirm Brutus is the younger sister of 2016 Sierra Vista's All-Star Hannah Carr.
Wow, very cool.
It took me a week to confirm that, but now we know.
Welcome to the league.
Absolutely. And on the other side, I love Giselle's growth. I think Giselle's still doing it. Victor had it was town hall meeting where Victor had a character that was angry but not like aggressive, but then had like a split personality switch where Victor started smacking himself in the face, and then like character switching back to stern angry.
Wow.
Like, Victor and how Victor can turn it on.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
Blew you away, huh? Just one of those moments.
Yeah. It was pretty cool.
Kudos to Victor for blowing us away yet again. One of my favorite memories of Victor is when they charged up on stage the first time they had the opportunity to play town hall meeting, and just all the energy they brought to the forefront of the stage. It's definitely a game where they tend to be the most comfortable. And hey, I love seeing him in that situation. I think he's one of those types of people who can go to no limit to blow the audience away, and I'm glad that he's still doing it. So keep it up, and happy senior year at last, kiddo. Yeah, I was trolling. I know I was convincing, but I knew Sierra Vista and Desert Oasis was last. I don't want to look like a total tool.
You were testing me.
Oh no, I know you know everything, Kopy. Like, I can't test you. All I can do is help myself look stupider. But that was shows from a hat, kiddos. It sounds like we had 10 fantastic shows to hang our hat on this week. Ding. We're going to do it again next week from Chaparral. So be back next week to hear another breakdown of all 10 of those shows. But before we go, got a couple sub segments we want to go over with you. First, we did see a lot of a specific game this week, kiddos. We did see Inner Monologue over and over again. It's definitely one of those games you want to have in your toolkit for playoffs because it really shows off your storytelling techniques and your ability to play with the gimmick of a game. So Inner Monologue might be one of the most popular games, but is it played the best? We'll take this week to take a look at it. Kopy, tell us, do you have just some advice about how to pull through an awesome Inner Monologue rendition?
Yeah, Inner Monologue, I hope you guys are looking at as a game that has two scenes going on. You've got a scene that is the basis of what you start with. Players, are you ready to begin? And then you've got a scene that essentially can be played out through these inner monologues. I don't know if I'm seeing a ton of us taking advantage of those inner monologues as much, or if I'm seeing a ton of us progressing or incorporating some of those in there. I think I see more of us taking those monologues and going for a joke or hoping to get a laugh versus actually progressing some thoughts. But it's an opportunity to connect some dots, to reveal some feelings, to really actually do something more.
Sure is.
And jokes should be tools, not necessarily the whole thing you're working on.
1,000,000%.
Yeah. So
there's so many layers to that game. Like, and when you know you've got layers, kids, you'll know because Kopy lets the game go on 5, maybe 6 minutes because he's just curious how these characters are going to play off these different sub scenes and if they'll pay them off appropriately too. So it's one of those rare improv games. I mean, sure, every single improv game is different, and every time you play it, it's going to be different from one of the other times. But Inner Monologue especially has more textures to it than almost any other game I can think of off the top of my head. It makes it both approachable, but it also makes it very sensitive on how you pull those strings and move those layers. So yeah, what do you think, Kopy, is the most successful kind of layer to play with? What the cake, if you will?
Well, if it's an inner monologue that is revealing something to the audience, but not necessarily revealing it to the performers, then it's your opportunity to do just that. What is your social media profile? Who are you? What do you enjoy? What are you feeling? What's actually happening underneath it all? What is being said in your head that's not being said out loud? Sometimes you can make yourself laugh in your head, right? Don't you have those moments you go through in life where you find something funny that you can't say out loud?
I can't make anybody laugh no matter what I do, Cope, but you go ahead and try to connect with me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's your opportunity to reveal something, no matter what it may be. Go up there and reveal it. And you know what, even from a stage standpoint, making sure that you're walking to the front of the stage, and you're taking that separate moment. I've seen too many now where some people are stepping backwards or not moving at all. So the way that the game looks is also insanely important. Your volume that you have, we try to put that music underneath your monologue when you do it, and we're doing that just to help the feeling of the game. So lean into that, lean into those moments, lean into what that concept is trying to do for you. We can probably talk about this forever, but
you could, and I'm going to talk about it for at least 16 more seconds, because I will say there's another version of this game that the league used to see a few years ago quite commonly, called award-winning moment. And this is really more of a theatrical take on the exact same gimmick. It's literally played the same way. It's just your award-winning moment is your conscious choice to be the, gosh, I don't know, Daniel Day-Lewis's or Meryl Streep's of the world, who can just bust out the monologue that totally gets them the Oscar, and you know it and you feel it and you get chills. That's another way to play the game. And sometimes just changing the title over to that helps you kids focus on a different way to play with these layers we're talking about. So maybe that helps some of you coaches. Maybe you don't want to go in the inner monologue kind of espionage way of building your layers. Maybe you need to just punch home the performance drama or that big moment that makes everybody pop by switching the name over. So give that some thought too, right?
One of the best I've ever seen do this was our only two-time league MVP, Cameron Coleman, over my shoulder. His monologues, he would create a scene within a scene, and he would create a different character, a different motivation. He would find multiple ways to add in multiple ideas that you just couldn't help but be intrigued by. So you have all those opportunities. This was almost a go-to for him. Cameron, in her monologue, rip off fake mustache, put it down, say his monologue, put the mustache back on, and then go back into the scene.
I was just about to ask you, was he the first kid who ever did the zip and step out of costume?
No, that was like Brad and Danny. That was those days.
But the mustache is funnier to just visually watch somebody putting it back.
Right.
I agree that there's so many really iconic Jesters moments that have been born out of inner monologue or award-winning moment. Some really great names have come through our league by cutting their teeth on that game. There he is right there. Boom, 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 boom. Yep. If you can't even, he's an icon for us. And he's an icon for this game, and this game really can do a lot for you. So embrace it and love it and make yourself at home. Of course, I will say just a second of fun can be had from that rule of threes, like third monologue of the game busts out something short and stupid. But boy, don't push in that envelope too much. A lot of us think that that's going to be funny every time, and we want more. That's the thing. Inner monologue is a game where we expect and look for more. So find it. Every monologue's like a radio scene, just push it. Cool, kids. I hope you learned a little something from just some advice. We're going to move straight into our next segment. This is our Kopy's challenge. You know what? I feel like propping this up first. Props are when we talk about all the good stuff you kids do on stage. Normally on stage, we don't want to see props. You see, we don't want to see you grabbing whatever tangible thing you've got around you and using it in some very readable way. We want you to pantomime those situations. That's the approved Jesters way. But offstage, props are the little kudos we give out to you kiddos, whether it's your scenes, whether it's your shows, whether it's your staff, whether it's your schools, whether it's your teamwork, all sorts of different ways we can commend you for helping us have a more fun week, a more fun show, a more fun moment. Kopy likes to give out 3 props every single week, and our first prop this week, I'm sure, will be a good one. Tell us, my friend, of our 3 props, who takes the first cake?
Well, just a very quick honorable mention on a prop that I at least have to say it, but Mr. English at Chaparral. If any of you haven't noticed, Chaparral's not on the schedule this year, but yet Chaparral came through huge, and they're actually hosting 3 times total. We're doing 2 weeks now, and then we're going to do a week in the playoffs at Chap.
Hearts are really hard to make. What is
that? So Honorable mention, Chaparral, thank you. If you come through this week and you meet Mr. English, he's just a nice man. They'll have concessions. Buy something from concessions. Help Chap out a bit, because they're helping us out huge. So
well deserved.
That's an honorable mention. So
yeah.
Okay. Real props. You know what? This is going to sound really weird, but I'm going to give the first prop to Shy People. Which embraces a lot of people in this, but for whatever reason, this league has them by an abundance.
Yeah.
And I would almost argue that there's just some sort of weird elixir or formula here that allows a shy person to, I hate to say not become shy anymore, because that truly is like a magic trick, but it at least allows them to find some comfort to where for them to realize their personalities are okay and desired and needed. So this week, I think in every single show, we have someone who was at a shyer point, and now they almost seem like an altered state of themselves. You know, I just talked about Zai from Desert Oasis. And,
1,000,000%.
And I'm not going to go back through every single show, but Zai is a great example. Sure. I would argue Xander at Arborview. Xander's still trying to find their voice, and man, with all those giants around you.
My shout out to Harry. You know, Harry's first Jesters show, but Harry's had frenetic energy in my practices, and I couldn't wait to see them unleash it. So, another great example.
And I wasn't fooled at all by Harry.
No.
The Spring Valley show, Apollo, like, who are you now? Like, oh my God.
Your most improved category this year is going to be crowded with watching how many kids have embraced that shadow they were once afraid of. So kudos to all you kids who are figuring that out. I
would say maybe all of Secta at one point. Yeah, you're veterans now, but it's at one point. West Tech Quinton. You know what? I would take it as far as saying Ashley. If there's anyone that I know that is always nervous, it's always Ashley, but puts out such an amazing product when they're up there.
Amazing.
So I can't V from ATEC, who came in out of nowhere. Like, we can
keep going. You can do it.
There's so many. Owen from Las Vegas. Maybe 7. Maybe all of Las Vegas as a whole. So shy people in general, I think you deserve some props, especially this week. That doesn't mean go hold up a banner and a sign that says "Shy People this way," but
that's literally not being shy if you do that. But
you are valued. You are doing some awesome things for this league.
Amen. And it would be really fun to hear all of you tell us what it is that gets under your skin that makes you fight instead of fly, because it's really what it is, right? We all, speaking as somebody who also gets tremendous anxiety every time I think they're under a spotlight. I get that when you step out on stage, you either have two options. You have freeze and do nothing and go home and cry later about it, or you just fly and you trust and you do it. And more of you than not do it year after year, time after time. I think we've only had 1 or 2 scenes in the world where the new kids literally didn't say anything. And God bless all of you who just fly, right? Thank you for flying. We knew you could do it. You totally deserve to do it. Keep doing it. Awesome stuff. Prop number 2, Kopy.
I'm gonna, because we've kind of categorized that first one, and we've talked a lot about games this week, choices. So for me, if I'm picking a game that stands out, just one singular game, I'm going to pick that press conference game from Rancho.
Yeah, cool.
Really, really well played game that was almost systematically played as far as how far away do we stay from the suggestions and giving our hints, and then how the hints become more and more direct, and then how we're basically giving it away, hoping that they actually get it, how engaged the audience is, and how much we're actually enjoying and laughing at what's happening. It really just checked a lot of those boxes. So
you know, a lot of kids fear the audience reaction, right? They fear it. They fear the silence, or they fear the what, or the okays, or maybe even some of them think there's going to be boos. But the true great improvisers read the audience and understand how they could take those stagnant moments and turn them into flowers, right? And Aaliyah, kudos to your experience there.
Hey, yeah, once a shy person.
Pop it off, right?
Right.
Look, I'll just put that away. Great stuff. I love that those students are learning how to read and utilize the reactions that they used to maybe sort of not want to hear or not maybe fear a little, and then learn how to capitalize on them, shift them, mold them, and make the pop bigger. You know, it only takes one big moment in the game, by the way, kiddos, for the game to be memorable. It is truly about moments. So never lose hope on a game. If it's starting off bad, you can turn it around. Lots to say from that. But yep, awesome stuff. Great job on that press conference, kiddos. Worthy of a prop indeed. And all of your creative game choices. We've been wowed by how many different games have been played. I've been around this league for 8 years, and I'm still hearing flashback. Like, what? Okay. Very cool to still hear new games getting out there. Prop number 3.
So I probably could have picked several games from this particular show. So
Yeah.
I'm just lumping this show as the third prop.
Mm-hmm.
So Arborview versus Northwest.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
You know what's cool is that I know, or at least the conversation I had with Arborview a week ago was just, hey, we want to make sure we're doing good work and we want to improve and that kind of thing. And I think I saw them in their scenes, just making sure they're taking their steps, and someone's getting this and someone's stepping back here, and their brain is working at the level you want it to work at. Not just are we up there performing, but also are we doing the spots and hitting our areas where we need to. And I think this is what I initially noticed about Allison and Audrey last year online, was they had that innate ability to do that.
Sure.
So now getting in person, we got to figure out how to do it. It's a whole different animal.
It sure is.
So now watching them actually put that together is awesome. And that's what they were trying to do this week for sure.
Oh yeah.
Better patience, that kind of thing. And Northwest has kind of been operating at this level for a long time. Heck, I mean, Erica played in the championship as a freshman.
Sure did.
Right. And here she is as a senior and still just killing it. So,
oh man, yeah, more than ever, if you want to argue that. And great props all around for sure. It leads beautifully into our next topic on the Kopy's challenge, because we're at this point in our year where we really want to get to know everything the other schools are doing. We really want to know where we stand. We really want to know how good we really are, how much of these nice comments we're throwing out on recap are preparing us for the playoffs. And the best way to do that might come from your Kopy's challenge this week, right? How do we educate ourselves? We do our homework. How do we do our homework? We research. And how do we research? Well, we go back and we look at our notes. And what kind of notes do we have? We have pictures. We have videos. We have so many of them at our fingertips, but do we have them in our hands yet? Many schools would say no. Kopy, what's our Kopy's challenge this week? How can we improve the league as a whole?
So I might make a lot of coaches very angry. Every show has hundreds of pictures that are taken and videos of every single show.
That's a lot of photos.
Yep. And sometimes Beth or Brianna get a little picture crazy, and you'll get 700 or 1,000 pictures of a show. But I've created folders on Google Drive that I've added the coaches to from every show that they've been in. So because it's on CCSD's Google Drive, all of you students can have access to it. All you got to do is ask. So please. Yeah, just ask your coaches, can you add me to this folder, or add me to this one, or add me to that one? I'm sure you want that. I'm sure that you want to use it or put it on your own social media or whatever. If you're running your team's Instagram, like, that's all ammo for you. For those of you that don't post ever, you've got hundreds and hundreds of things to post now. So yeah, ask your coaches for that stuff, because it's there. And it's only going to help you going into the playoffs, as you can promote and get excited. Next week, maybe next week in the recap, we'll talk about the 1,000th show coming up. which is another reason to be excited.
Zero.
Right.
Crazy history right now going on. You could go back and look at all of the shows over the years, guys. 1,000 photos for 1,000 shows. Crazy thing. But there's thousands of photos for your shows too. So go dig them up. Go look at them. Go remember your own memories, guys, because, you know, improv is life. And just like if you're on the football field running for a touchdown, maybe you want the photos of that great radio scene where you just finally figured it out, right? So grab those photos, kids. They're good for many reasons. And that leads us into Kopy, our final segment of the week. Yeah, it's our Kopy question. This is where I take a question off my dome and I throw it at Kopy, and we learn a little thing either about him or about what we do or about life after Jesters or whatever have you. And I've been asking a lot of improv questions this year where my coaching brain has wanted to be fed by this great mentor here who is helping us through so many of our personal barriers. But this week, here's a fun one. Kopy, I did something you never do. Me, I did it and you didn't. Guess what it was? I took a break. I went on vacation. Yeah. I went out of town and did something else for a change, which I know for you, you're one of the hardest working men I've ever met. Definitely a role model in that area of my life. I work as hard as I do because of you. And I say that, you know, loosely enough, just because you motivate me to keep working harder. But even I need breaks. Kopy, if you had the ability to, okay, let's just wipe away all the responsibilities and the things that you're passionate about and these wonderful kids who rely on your opportunity for their creativity to shine. Tell me, if all of that was gone and money and time weren't the issue, what is your dream vacation?
Oh, geez.
I know. You have to think about yourself for just a second. We're going to go ahead and give you a second. I'll just monologue for a second. I went to Innings in Arizona. It was called Tempe, Arizona was the city where it's at. It's part of Phoenix, right? I saw 2 beautiful days of music, and it was all based around baseball, which is my favorite sport. I met Tim Salmon, who's a Hall of Famer, played for the Angels in that 2002 World Series team. I got a baseball sign for my girlfriend from him. It was a great feel-good moment, made me feel like I could be here all along, doing wonderful memories and making some awesome choices instead of working my butt off back home. Now, Kopy, that I've told you a little bit more about my vacation, what would be your dream vacation?
Well, I don't know how to do normality, right? I don't know how to do things in the typical way. Everything's got to be bigger and better. That's the way I've always done it. So I had a really weird goal, and this is kind of public, but I had a really weird goal of owning a football jersey for every NFL team.
Yes.
Right. I've never met anyone who's had that, and I did it. I've got it. And it took me a long time, but I got it. Yep. So I kind of look at vacations the same way. I want to go to every city on earth.
Ooh, I love that.
Only because no one's ever, like, I'll never accomplish that. And so that's what I want to do. There's really no one place. I will go anywhere.
Nice. Yeah, there's value everywhere to be seen, right? And you find value in a lot of different places. That's a really cool idea. Just for fun, just for a juicy hot take, where would you go first on this world tour of experiences?
You know, I'm always up for trying something new. Obviously, I haven't been everywhere, but I've been to a lot of places. So if I'm just speaking from my heart on going somewhere new, then I would probably go like South America or Africa. I haven't been to either of those continents.
Yeah, they're 2 incredibly different places that are thousands of miles apart. I love how you put them right next to each other, like they're Wyoming and Colorado, Kopy.
I've been in the northern continents, a lot of places, but neither of those. So I don't know, maybe.
I love it. Hey, you know, I've grilled you enough. I know it's hard for you to think selfishly about yourself, about the things you want in life. So thank you for sharing with us what that vision would look like. There is definitely one place that you are at all times, my friend, and that is in our hearts, because you do a great thing with Jesters. We're all so grateful to be a part of it. And this has been your Just to Recap Jesters Court for week 5 of our 13th season. We'll be back next week from Chaparral High School with another 11 shows. I think we get back to next week to break down for you. And we'll be here for more fantastic improv news, tips, and tricks. And I've been Coach Dub. That's the great Kopy Kopatic. I'm going to go finish my vacation and he's going to go back to work. So irony, right? Bye, everybody. You have a great week. Honey, I need more sparkling water.